What up? What up, my guys? Welcome to another show, man. It's NBA Talk with Jay and the Shark, man. NBA tip-off show. Always trying to get some cash, man. We for the people here on this channel. We're just trying to. It's us against the bookies, right? We're all trying to cash. That's what it's about, man. What's up with you, Shark? Everything cool with you?
Absolutely taking a breath off the little workout, otherwise known as the violin rendition. Wednesday afternoon here, Happy Hour Hoops, March 23rd, 2022. Big card today, Jay. 10 games. Somebody said to me, don't inflate the card. I said 10 games, 4 quarters, totals, and spreads. Let's dominate and let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it, man. Most of the game's pretty good. A few of them that's uninspiring, but let's get to it, man. It's a huge slate. I'm ready to break it down with you, my brother. First game up, we're going over to the streets of Detroit. One of those teams have been covering spreads like it's none of their business, man. They've been covering the hell out of these spreads. We know that the Pistons, in theory, this is what I'll be doing the last few weeks of the season, Shark. I'm going with teams that have something to play against versus teams that don't have any. So obviously the Pistons been playing hard, but maybe start looking to next season, start playing some of these young guys. You see them start to rest guys like Kelly Olynyk and Jeremy Grant, some of their better players. So for me, I don't have anything official on this game. They do have the rest advantage, but it's Hawks or nothing for me here, but I'm not taking them on the road with that road back-to-back. Huge win last night. You like some here?
This is tough. This is one of the tougher games to cap on the card. Something I talked about yesterday in terms of the Denver game. When you see a team have an inflated number and not cover, but then still hold as a favorite, do a little averaging here, which is what I do. I do the spread plus the deficit divided by 2, and that's my new spread. So 7.5 prior, lose by 3 is a 4.5 divided by 2, which is 2.25. That's the new spread that I would have. So when books put this out there at -5, they are showing Atlanta's strength here. Atlanta's last 2 back-to-back 3rd and 4 environments were very, very tight on the spread. At Washington, 117, 114, did not cover by a bucket. And at home against Portland, 122 to 113, and on cover. Again, very, very close. I think this is razor sharp. I would want to take Detroit from the standpoint they're getting back to being an underdog, which is where they function well. Of course, off an awful -7 outright loss to Portland. This is razor sharp. Number is on Atlanta. Some narrative to Detroit. No play here.
Yeah, it's a tough. Like I say, with my system, teams playing for nothing, and the teams that are playing for some, it'd be Hawks or nothing. Unfortunately, they're at the rest disadvantage here, and a little bit different team on the road. But I'd be surprised. I still lean Hawks here. That's the only way that I would play this game. Let's go over here to the streets of Indiana, man. We got the Pacers. This line was at 6. It's down to 5. Didn't get a chance to change it. Brogdon's out, man, and I talked about it. I think this game doesn't really matter right now. You need to see what's up with Halliburton. He's the main player in this game, going up against his old team. It would have been Sabonis, right? Sabonis as well, but he's not out there. Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox both out in this game for the Kings, but no Brogdon for the Pacers. I'm not laying points with the Pacers in any circumstance. So I know that if Halliburton is in, line will probably go back up. Maybe look at Halliburton props in this one. He should really have some motivation going up against his old squad. But I must say, right now it's Kings or nothing. But I'm not betting this game. What are we doing, man? We're gonna talk about some shirts, man. Shark, you like something here?
I like that. The off segment. Let's talk about some shirts, some hats, some sunglasses, some buy hats. No buy hat in this game, but I will tell you the best look in this game is the over 234. When you look at these new roster groups, of course, one of the real contaminant points to cap this narrative-wise is the fact that you have players that were just traded for each other. So who motivates better, really? I mean, that's a total toss in my opinion. But if you go back to early season, there was a very low-scoring game played in Sacramento, 94-91 Indiana. With an outright win. That was their first road win of the campaign, I believe. But when you see a total go so low and finish at 185, and this opens up at 234 in books, they're telling you a numerical story. That was earlier season where the league, Jay, we talked about this very early season, the officiating had gone back to like 95 finals style. It was very physical on court. The officiating's flipped. The pace of play has flipped. Rosters have flipped. This game is going to be wide open. You would want to take Indiana on this number. Sacramento did lay 2.5 at home, so you're getting a 7.5 gap coming towards Indiana. But Sacramento on the road, Jay, we had them correctly at Utah. They are 5-1 last 6 on the road ATS. Almost all as an underdog. So they function very well in this environment. No Sabonis tonight. A lot of moving parts. Over is the best look in this game by a mile for me.
Yeah, because guess what? You don't have a ton of rim protection on either side. So I'm with you on that. That's my thing with the Pacers. I'm not taking the team without a center. I know this is new basketball. I know this is positionless basketball. You still got to get rebounds. Simple, man. So I don't know. This Pace team, man, they need to throw this team in the trash. They send them down to the G League for a couple of games, man. Now I'm messing with you guys, but I'm not laying points with the Pacers for the rest of the season. It's like my guy Teddy covers you say. The Pacers can't be laying points. So when it's that simple to me, it's Kings or nothing. Halliburton, huge question mark. If he's out, I might have to sprinkle a little something on the Kings, man. Let's go over here to the streets. Of this line has moved as well, Shark, for good reason. Shark, we have a team that's playing for nothing versus a team that's playing for everything. What do you think about this game? Like, I know you like the total here, but what you think about the side, bro? Is it starting to get too much? You were riding the Hornets for a while there. They're catching these teams in the second half of back-to-backs, bro, and they're just at the house chilling. What are we doing?
Well, as we say with the Knicks are so unbelievably unpredictable on a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Jay Money's eyes are looking clean and pretty today, and I love to see it. And but you look at the Knicks. Knicks burned us last night. Look at the Knicks quarter-to-quarter flow. They're very unpredictable. Of course, they burned us last night because Julius Randle sits out, and then the first unit is not the drudgery, slow down, no movement group. All of a sudden, it's Obi Toppin and the boys running and gunning, shooting threes. So this is, of course, a snapshot, not only the Knicks, but professional basketball. When rosters move at the last minute, the cap goes out the window. You're capping a totally different environment. Within this matchup, this is the third matchup of the year. Go back to early season. We had this correctly. Of course, a totally different group. And that's a shout out to Tom Thibodeau mismanaging this group. Way too many on-court groups. Select something and stick to it, please. But you came in there. We had them in the first half that day. The Knicks did melt off the game. It was 104-96 final. Knicks were actually laying 2.5 points back early season when the Knicks were still being graded as the playoff team from last year. And then it came back short at Madison Square Garden, 2.5 Knicks again. Should have been 5.5 Knicks based on historical three-point movement standards. And Charlotte got them again, 97-87. An interesting point here. The last time the Knicks had a home road back-to-back, it was off a win against the Clippers, and they went to an Eastern Conference rival in a revenge game the next day at Cleveland. They played a poor first quarter. And you look what happened last night. They came out really well in the Garden. This oftentimes does reverse. Night one of a back-to-back, you come out well. Night two, you come out flat. Charlotte was really flat against New Orleans in the last game. I think a really good look here is Charlotte first quarter. The numbers all over Charlotte, and the over is really interesting. The first matchup of the year was a super under at 224. Then it came down to 214.5 at Madison Square Garden and went way under again. Now it comes back up to the original average, which was a 3-point and field goal percentage outlier. This game is going to have more pace. Charlotte first quarter, also a very solid look here.
Yeah, I'm low key think I'm finna add this shit right now, bro. I'll be honest with you. I said on the earlier show, bro, I think this is a trifecta spot for the Hornets. This is an absolute smack city spot. I have on all Hornets colors right now. So this isn't even a Hornets shirt, but it is a Jordan shirt and it's their colors. So I got the LaMelo Ball orange, the socks on. I'm just saying, man, I got a whole outfit on. Man, say, look here. They beat the Knicks twice already, Shark. I know you like this. We know that it's the market adjustment, right? But they were plus 2.5 both times this year. Then this line opened up at 6.5. Line all over the Hornets here. You look at it in the categories. They're over the last 5 games. Number 3 net best, the third best net rating in the NBA. The second best offensive rate in the last 5 games. Number 1 in assist percentage and assist to turnover ratio. This team is running and gunning. They're balling. They're at the house. This is their 4th straight home game. They're 5-0 straight up. 4-1 ATS last 5 games. No double revenge spot for the Knicks tonight. The Hornets are playing for playoff seed. They're trying to get as high a seeds they can. All the motivation in the world. They're talking about it in their interviews. They're really on a streak right now, and I think they keep it going tonight. The Knicks, 6 games out of the playoff spot, guys. Only 10 games left. They would need to win every single game, starting with last night. You see them resting Julius Randle. They're starting to get ready for next season, guys. Even with them resting Mitchell Robinson here tonight, I'm like, damn, Plumlee's a bum. Mitchell Robinson could be grabbing some boards or look good for him. He's out. So obviously I took him before this. This only makes my case even better. Taj Gibson at center. Obi Toppin, he didn't look good last night. The coach even had to yank him. So the Knicks also 0-4 ATS last 4 in Charlotte, 2-6 ATS last 8 meetings. The Hornets are absolute matchup nightmare for them. So I think I'm gonna make this a Hornets trifecta spot, man. That's what I think I'm gonna do, Shark. Did you want to talk about the total, or you already you like the over here, right?
The over is going to be, I think, sharp. The over is probably not as good as the Indiana total really skyrocketing, but this is definitely an overtake. They're telling you the previous two were massive outliers. I mean, they were both incredibly, incredibly low scoring. This should open up. And one final point on that, the other two third and fourth back-to-back scenarios for the Knicks in the last month were both extremely paced games on the road at Sacramento. Knicks scored 80 points in the second half to burn my bet that day. Thanks, Knicks. And another one at Denver, 132 to 115. The total is going to skyrocket here tonight. I do think Charlotte first quarter should be a great look as well, Jeff.
-2.5. I just sprinkled a little something on -2.5, -4.5. First quarter, first half. I like it. I said it earlier. You come on and mention, I'm like, that shit makes a lot of sense. And I knew, I just hadn't hopped on it yet. I was just all over that full game because we know Shark obviously full game with the rest advantage. Them being on the back-to-back full game is where the Hornets should really have the advantage in the second half. Run these guys out of the gym. The Hornets are not a team you want to face on a back-to-back. Let's go over here to the streets of Miami. We got the Warriors here, 10-point underdogs versus the Heat. This team lost outright to the Magic yesterday. Then now they're sitting. They already had Curry out. Now they're sitting Draymond, Otto Porter, and Klay Thompson. Shark, what are we doing here?
This is unfortunate. I mean, we talk about this with a handful of games on the board tonight. We won't get to LeBron James sitting out just yet. I had to take a walk outside. I was so steamed listening to that report. But this is what the Dubs have been doing all year on road back-to-backs at the East and actually a couple at the West as well. They haven't covered as a dog. They did cover as a favorite with essentially all the second unit guys early season at Detroit. They got hammered at the Raptors by 19, and they did not cover at the Pelicans either. Of course, this line number is all over Miami. Miami did lose early season on a +10. They did cover. They come home here open, at -6.5. What becomes problematic here is what Miami did at home against Phoenix on a similar line jump. They were in Phoenix early season on a similar number, +10, came home and laid 4, so a huge 14-point gap. This was 17.5 gap, and they didn't cover. They laid down. And Miami has shown the ability all year to play down in uninspiring moments and roster groups coming into their stadium or on the road. You saw it most recently at Philly. Philly sits Harden and Embiid. They lose outright. You want to take Miami on this number. Miami is 0-4 ATS last 4. Terrible travel spot for the Dubs. But again, the Dubs were showing problems without Steph Curry, with Draymond and Klay flowing. Take Draymond and Klay off the roster. Now you get Jordan Poole and the boys running and gunning. The entire game is very difficult to cap here.
Yeah, Ski was leaning it over as well. Like you said, that running and gunning. Obviously, you don't have Draymond, the heart and soul of your defense out there. I don't know what's up with Klay. Obviously, he's not going to be the same guy out there. Otto Porter may help a little bit, may not hurt. Let me see. So Poole, Moody, Wiggins, Kuminga, Looney is maybe what their starting lineup. I'll tell you this: the inside info, Butler's not playing this guy. I can't say for sure, but he was limping pretty hard into the post-game press conference after the Sixers game. Obviously, they lost. I do think that the Heat are going to be pissed after that. They know that was an unprofessional game. They had no business losing that game, regardless who's out there. That's why I still would have liked the Heat, just because they're one of those no-nonsense teams. We don't give a damn who's out there. They smacking them up, but you have to give it to them. Tyrese Maxey and the boys came to play, and Jimmy Butler was playing hurt in that game. That's why I think that they know they need him for the longevity, for the run in the Eastern Conference playoffs or whatever. So I don't think that Jimmy Butler would play. Tyler Hero was questionable as well. They may not play it. Shark, especially with all the guys sitting out for the Warriors, Jimmy's not playing this game, man. I do not think that he's playing with that ankle as bad as he was limping pretty hard. So that's just the way I'm looking at it. I'm not taking the Heat in this game. I do think they'll be pissed, but the Warriors been playing lackluster as well. It's a tough game for me there. It's a tough game. I don't think Butler is playing. So if you like the Heat, maybe wait to see if he's ruled out. You will get a better line. Don't bet that game, man. Let's go over here to the streets of Memphis real quick, Shark. Oh, and Max in the chat, man. I appreciate that $20 tip as well, my brother, as always, man. It's cash. Let's get some cash. It's always, bro. But let's go over here to the streets of Memphis real quick, Shark. No Ja Morant. They can play well without him. The Nets are sustained by, I'll keep saying it. What do you like some here?
It's tough. I mean, you said it. Memphis without Ja Morant is an absolute ATS juggernaut in all formats. Home, road, conference, non-conference, contender, or fringe, or worse. And you look at what's going on. The Nets are in a triple revenge game. They've lost 3 in a row going back to last year. They did get beat 118-104 at home. Brooklyn was laying 6.5 points. It's opened at 2.5. Obviously, we talk about this all the time. 6.5 home should be 3.5 road. 2.5 is 1 point short. Definitely shading to Memphis yet again. But as you said, since Kyrie Irving really got into the flow with KD, they've been great on the road. 3-0 ATS last 3, blowouts, incredibly efficient offensive basketball. I would lean towards the over here. This is a very inflated 238. The only problem here, obviously, without Ja Morant, the team does play a bit of a slower pace, so that is contaminated for me. This might actually go under. This line is -1 for a reason. It's going to be a tight game down the stretch. ESPN National, it's what they want for entertainment. It's what we don't want to bet long term here.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I'm not touching this game. I lean the Nets here. Wouldn't be surprised to get it done. What do you think about this, Shark? Kind of almost seems like the Grizzlies are starting to taper off, kind of start to not necessarily stop playing as hard, but they're just kind of look like they're taking things a little bit easy, not trying to have any major injuries and get ready for this what hopes to be a deep playoff run. That's just what I sense from them. Nothing necessarily like they're going balls to the wall every single game here. So it's a tough spot for me. I'm not betting against the Nets right now, but what are they? They're 6-1 straight. They were 6-1 straight up last 7. The only loss in there was a game-winning shot by Dinwiddie. KD says he's still pissed about that. That shows me. I say it over again on this show. KD is telling those guys, we're not messing around now. It's time to play. And when you want to take the Nets, it's on the road with Kyrie. It is his birthday. A lot of people liking Kyrie over 25.5. I couldn't talk you off. I lean Nets here. ESPN game. I don't think I'm going to bet this game, and I do lean Nets though. This is one where the Grizzlies may lose. They may miss Ja. They're 13-3 ATS without him, Shark. But I know that they can still play really good defense. That could bother the Nets. And no Dragic for them. Curry still game time decision. That's huge for me. If I'm taking the Nets here, I want Dragic and Curry in there. Stay off game for me. Celtics here, land 5. We'll go over here to the streets of Boston real quick, man. We got the Celtics land 5 versus the Jazz, Shark. Only thing working against the Celtics here is it's their first game back at the house off a little 4-game road trip. But they did come back in this same spot and smash Milwaukee Bucks as well. So when they want to focus, they can. The Jazz beating them 4 straight times, Shark. Do the Jazz just own them, or what are we doing?
This is a tough spot. I mean, we've seen this at home with Boston now for a period of weeks. They're very sharp on the number. You look at the Brooklyn game on a weekend, it was right there, 1 bucket down the stretch. They did get there. They pushed the final number at -6. The Dallas home game was very tight down the stretch. I think the best look in this game is actually the under at 215.5 here. If you go back to early season, and of course we do talk about this over the course of 82, Jay just mentioned Memphis might be cratering a little bit. It's hard to play a consistent style of ball for 82 over the course of 6 months. The ebbs and flows are very, very real. Boston at that point in time was clustering overs. Since they've gotten their act together, and of course they're pushing for a top 4 seed in the East here with significance, they're a great defensive home team. And when you get a 137-130 road final between these two teams, and this line comes in at 215.5, it's speaking to a much more of a defensive style of ball. You talk about this all the time going back. Of course, they did move Joe Ingles off the roster, but this team at home runs and guns and shoots threes. On the road, they play a vastly slower style of ball. I'm not playing this officially. Again, I might throw a couple sprinkles on this myself, but the under is the best look in this game for me.
Yeah, and I believe it opened at 219.5 as well, came down to 215. So the total experts, they hopped on this shit under as well. And you know what? The Celtics are a damn good defensive team here, Shark. What do you think about this? +8 early in this year. I know they didn't have Jaylen Brown. +8 to -6. Good God, what are we doing?
I think this is kind of what we see with some of these spots where they get over adjusted, where it's really strong, but it's actually right on the new result. And it becomes too much. And then if you're just sweating the line. And as I said, I think Boston is over adjusted. Most of these lines at home recently have been right on the number. I think it's going to be real tight on the number here.
Yeah, I sprinkled on Celtics. I did take a -4.5, but still like it -5, man. It's a revenge spot. They lost 137 to 130. No Jaylen Brown in that game. Bogdanovich had 16 points. Joe Ingles still had 9 points. This is somewhat of a different Jazz team now. They can ball. Still not the same team on the road, though. So now if I'm the Celtics, I'm looking at it. We lost 4 in a row and 6 in a row to the Jazz. Come out here and smash these guys, man. Number 4 offensive rating last 5 games. Number 3 defensive over the last 3. Top 10 all major categories for the Celtics. This team there's some ballers over there. 6-1 ATS last 7 games versus winning teams. You have the Jazz here. 1-6-1 ATS last 8 games overall. 1-6 ATS last 7 road games. This is not where they come to ball out at. 2-9-1 ATS last 12 as an underdog. And somebody told me something about Gobert possibly pardoned last night. I don't really care about that. I really think the Celtics going to come to play here. Only thing not working well for them in this one, first game back off of their road trip. So this was the smallest play that I made today, but I'm still trying to win it. It's simple. I like the Celtics here with revenge, losing 4 straight to the Jazz. They finna come out here and smack these motherfuckers up by double digits, man. Celtics for me, -5. I'm not scared, man. Let's go over here to the streets of Minnesota here. We got the Wolves here getting the point to have. Obviously, they were favored. So, Sharp, this line opened up all over the Wolves. Now, the only reason why I flipped to the other side because Carlton Towns questionable. He has been questionable the past couple of games and ended up playing. So, me personally, I'm waiting on Cat in this one, Shark. You got the hat on. Let the people know what you like.
Absolutely. We're going 2-unit play here. We're really honing in late season. Minnesota Timberwolves +1. And as you mentioned, they opened as a favorite. Then it came up to, I think, Phoenix -2, and it's getting steamed back the other direction. A lot of sharp action on this. Of course, I don't cap the market, just a snapshot to what's going on here. And what you really look at what's going on here, Minnesota has lost 3 straight basketball games to Phoenix dating back to last year. Double revenge game within this campaign. The line functionality is telling you a great story here. Early season, Phoenix did win on a -4, 99-96, real tight. Back when Minnesota was not Minnesota of right now. Then it came up from -4 to -8, which was showing 1 point of numerical strength to Phoenix. Phoenix did get there 134 to 124. Now you come back, as Jay said, this moves from -8, I believe, to 1.5 at open. And that is the numerical movement you want. That is not where it goes from +4 to -9. It becomes unattainable because the team doesn't want to cover by 9. This is where you get a +8 to a -1. Same gap, but feasible and attainable on the money line. And speaking of money line, you look at Minnesota at home in the last 2 months, an absolute sustainable juggernaut. Blowout against the Bucks, blowout against the Dubs, cover against the Grizz, smashing all the bad teams, smashing the Lakers. Their last 2 non-covers against Philly, James Harden's first game, and Toronto, both Eastern teams on back-to-back nights for Minnesota, which they do not function well at all. All boxes checked here. Final point, Phoenix on a dub-5, showing signs of a loss. Should have lost to Sacramento in the last game. And since CP3 went out and it was just Booker and the boys, they've been playing fringe playoff teams, non-contenders, and Eastern teams like Miami without Jimmy Butler and Chicago, who's been cratering. This is the first game of their last 8 at a legitimate Western contender. I think the streak ends tonight. Minnesota +1, 2-unit official.
No, sure. They got the Nuggets tomorrow. I like the Wolves with you, but it's not they got a game. I think it's low-key a bigger. I like this, Shark, because we like this for 2 separate reasons. Suns have the Nuggets on deck tomorrow. We always talk about this. You have a game tomorrow in high altitude, which I do think, I'm not going to say they're looking ahead to it, but I do think they respect the Nuggets. Obviously, with the reigning MVP, I think they respect the Nuggets a little bit more than the Wolves. I think we see a little bit possibly look ahead spot to the Nuggets tomorrow. And I also see them saving maybe a little bit of energy as well. It's definitely in their head. We have a game in Denver tomorrow. So I definitely think that's going to be in the I think that they're going to be thinking about that. And if they start to get smacked up by the Wolves, they probably likely mail this game in. The Suns aren't that type of team. They don't mail games in. But when you have a back-to-back in Denver, and it may be a game that you want a little bit more, yeah, I think that this could be possibly a look-ahead spot. The Suns going to lose one of these games. So if they do find some type of way to get this one done, I'll definitely be fading tomorrow versus the Nuggets. They're not winning 2 in a row here, but I do see them losing this one, possibly getting the job done over Denver in the next game here, Shark. So I'm glad that you didn't mention it because we like it for 2 separate reasons here, my brothers. I like the Wolves here. I'm waiting for Cat. Soon as Cat, like I said on the earlier show, soon as Cat's in, I'm hopping on them, my brothers. Let's cash it, Shark. It's simple. You got raised by Wolves. Let's go over here to the streets of Dallas real quick, man. We got, the Mavs land 10. It's up to 10.5 now. No Luka. I've seen this movie before, Shark. This is a triple revenge spot for the Rockets. They won't turn up for many games the rest of this year. Steven Silas going back to Mavs, going back to Dallas here. I I'd be surprised if the Rockets didn't cover this game. Am I in a hurry to go and bet the Rockets? Hell no, but I don't necessarily. And the Mavs have a bigger game with the Wolves on deck. That's not tomorrow, but they do have a day between there, but possibly a look ahead spot for the Mavs here. It's why they're resting Luka. This is a very uninspired game, unmotivated game for my team. Yes, Dinwiddie and Brunson could still go off, but the Rockets, I could see them coming to play here and cover this 10. They likely won't win, but keep it within 5. I could keep it within 10. What do you think, Shark? Because you talk me off?
No, I completely agree. I think if you go through the matchup, specifically go back to the first one of the year, they did cover on the road on a very similar figure. -11 Dallas, they lost by 10 points. It will be potentially close, but the second two in Houston, both Dallas covers. That's a noticeable trend. When divisional opponents are covering on the road against each other, oftentimes that does sustain. This number is going to be sharp, but as Jay said, this is a total sandwich trap spot for the Mavs. Coming off a big game against the Wolves, a big win, 110-108, then a revenge game against the Wolves next. Then they play the Jazz after that. Total dead zone spot here. I would definitely lean with significance to Houston here tonight.
Absolute dead zone spot. You land 10 versus a team that they can score. They don't play any defense, but they can score with the best of them. And so what I would see here, I'd maybe look for an over in this game. I see the Mavs coming out here and say, you know what, we're just going to outscore these guys. We don't have the motivation to come in here and play hard defense, but we know we can outscore them and beat them that way. So, and with that, without the motivation, I wouldn't be laying 10 with the Mavs. Seth Curry is out tonight. It's not good if you like the Nets, my God. I'm not saying nothing's guaranteed. Still got Kyrie and KD, but I can't take the Nets without Curry and Dragic, guy. I think Dragic is out as well. Let's go. Let me switch this line real quick, man. The Sixers are favored by 9.5 now, my guys. They are favored by 9.5. LeBron is out. I wouldn't care too much. What do you think, Shark? Late night ESPN game. Let them know what you thinking about here, man. You think the motivation gonna be there or what?
This game is just pissing me off, and I'll be honest. I was talking to Punt School about it, talking to Jay about it. I literally was in a good mood, and LeBron James put me into a bad mood. You're coming home. You need games. You're tracking an incredible stat line every game. You're on full rest. You're in a revenge game, and you sit out a national game on ESPN. Come on, bro. I don't know if they're filming some movie in LA tonight. He has to do with the set or what the hell is going on. This is really where it gets. This is where it gets over the line. This is not a 3rd and 4 back-to-back. It's not on the road. It's not fatigue. It's not a lackluster opponent. It's not a one-off playing like the Rockets in a non-national game. This is the definition of when you need to show out for the product and the brand. And I think it speaks to what we've been saying all year. Friends and family tour, funeral home tour, whatever it may be, they just don't care, period. So you're going to get this tonight. But the whole thing is unfortunately contaminated for me. I wanted to take Philadelphia first quarter and first half with significance. Philadelphia travels very well coming off a home game going to the West first quarter, first half. And the Lakers are absolutely abysmal first quarter, first half. But again, LeBron sits out. The line only moves 1.5 points. You ask yourself, will Philly? I thought it was 7.5 to 9.5, 2.5. Okay, yeah. But I do think that you ask yourself, does Philly really bring a big effort here tonight? We haven't seen this Lakers roster group play, I believe, in months. The last time LeBron was out at the end of January, Anthony Davis was still playing. So this is the first time in a long time, maybe ever. Don't check me on that. I didn't go through deep research, but where LeBron and AD are both out, and it's this random group of guys. Philadelphia does have the Clippers next, and then they finish a 3-game Western trip at the Suns. I wanted to take this, but now I just don't know what the motivation is going to be, and I don't know how the Lakers roster is going to function here.
No, I'm with you on that. I worry about this game. I definitely worry about when the team that just did the fishy shit is now the one in the opposite situation. So that's my main thing. I'm not laying the number. Obviously, I took this shit earlier. We talked about it earlier on the early show. Sixers trifecta. It's crazy, Sharp, because let me just break you guys down what I'm looking at. The last time they played earlier this season in January, they didn't have LeBron. They won 105-87. Philly was laying 6 in that game. AD had 31 points and 12 rebounds. Embiid only had I say only because he only had 26 points. AD did play him very nice. Held him to 0 of 5 for 3, only 9 for 20 from the field. So he wasn't just great in that game. I do see him going off for who the hell is guarding Embiid tonight? Like, seriously, it's not Dwight Howard, don't try to do that, man. But I think the books kind of already knew that LeBron was going to be out. This line opened up at 5. Me and Teddy, that's why I did the show last night. Me and Teddy were talking about this when I said, Teddy, it's -5. You better get on that right now. It went up to 7. From there, got seen up to 7. So I don't see it as, that's why I didn't move that much, because they had that 7 in between, whether he's going to play or not. If he would have played, would have went down to 5. Now that he's out, up to 9.5. And I agree with it, man. Obviously, always worry about the motivation, but Sixers, they remember when they just got Harden, Shark, and then they had all this hype, but then it went down the drain. Now they need some blowout wins. They need confidence boosting wins and opponents to get that hype back up, to Harden to have him feeling himself again. Harden and Embiid should have fresh legs tonight after sitting that last game out. So, and also think about this, Shark, when a team wins without their star players, all of the second core guys have confidence now. Tyrese Maxey has a lot of confidence. I see them bringing that energy and momentum into this game right here. Now, this is why LeBron is not playing. This is the 5th game in 8 days for the Lakers, plus 7th game in 11 days. 5 games of those were on the road. First game back at the house after a road trip. And this is a terrible spot for the legs of the Lakers here, guys, especially flying cross country as well. 2-5-1 ATS last 8, playing on 1 day's rest. They're historically not well after a straight up win as well. And Ronald in the chat, I see you 1-10 straight up. No, 1-10 ATS after a double-digit win. I'm not sure what to say about these guys, man. But Sixers 3-1-1 ATS last 5 is road favorite. I may sprinkle on the -9.5 too, man. I do think this game gets ugly. I don't see them like, oh, LeBron is that, because LeBron, Shark, was the only thing that was keeping the Lakers together, really, in my opinion. I see them getting smashed here, man. In all this, unless there's some mob shit going on, some backdoor, the Sixers should win this game by 20 points. Shark, anything else on this one?
Yeah, I mean, just going on that, I had the first quarter and the first half top graded because you saw how the Lakers came out on a sequence of games against the East at home, particularly against the Knicks. They came off a trip, and then the Knicks came in there and just throttled them in the first quarter and the first half. And then slightly later, the Bucks did the same thing. The Bucks put 78 first half points on them and just demolished them. And then even later, I think you had this play, Toronto came in there and beat them by 20 points in the first quarter. And the game was just over from the get. And so this game, I agree with you on all points. I just personally get weirded out when a big player sits out, and now we're facing a group we haven't seen all season.
No, we should. We should, especially after what just happened in the last game versus the Heat. It's always something to give trepidation. I definitely wouldn't take this play because LeBron's out. That's for damn sure. So obviously when we take it, I didn't give a damn if he was playing or not. This is one where him being out possibly helps, man. We'll see what happens, but hard not to like the Sixers even more now with them. I think this is a spot play for the Sixers. I was looking at this on Sunday. I knew I was going to be on them today. Last game up, Shark. We got the Spurs. We're going to the streets of Portland here. We have the Blazers here getting 9.5 versus the Spurs. At first glance, I'm looking at this game. What the hell are the Spurs doing laying this price, man? Then you look at the Blazers. They don't have Hart or Simons out there. That was the only thing that was keeping them boys together. My guy got the City Edition Port Vita colors on. That's the jersey they'll have on. I may have to ride with you on this one, Shark. I think this is going to be Smack City spot as well. What you like here?
Absolutely. On a suddenly not so casual winning Wednesday, March 23rd, 2022, my hat is engaged. A lot going on here, as you said. The Spurs come in here on what looks like a ridiculous number. It's ridiculous for a reason. Portland in this campaign, without CJ McCollum in this backwoods roster, they either cover the game or they get demolished by 30 plus. There's no in between. So this game's either going to be a 2-point game or San Antonio is going to win by 25 plus. And I think that's the route we're going. If you look at where Portland's coming in here, Portland has been very good covering against the East all 2022, road and home. The East does not take this team seriously at all. They're coming off a long trip, an outright win at Detroit. They are 4-2 ATS last 6. The last time they went 4-0 ATS in a sample, they got demolished by 30 plus the next 6. So they're 4-2 ATS last 6. The previous 6, key point, all against the West, 0-6 ATS, all utter demolition blowouts. One final point, early season San Antonio did go in there in a similar travel point and hammer them 114-83. At that point in time, Portland was favored by 5 So it
Mm-hmm.
puts 12.5 points to the road team in the home revenge game. Steamed up, sharp action only. I think San Antonio comes in here and wins the game by 20 plus tonight. 9 is the line now. We're at a shorter number on Twitter as of 6 in the morning. Follow me there for that type of stuff. But 2-unit official, an opportunity to dominate. Jay.
Yeah, and the Spurs, I was on that shit too, that +5 that day versus the Blazers. I knew them boys was pretenders. They had a lot better roster then as well, man. I can tell you this, the Blazers, it's crazy because they have a lot of young, I'm not gonna spend too much time, but they got a lot of young guys that are playing for contracts. But I was gonna say, this is one of those teams that towards the end of the season, they're just gonna start mailing shit in, man. I mean, we play NBA, it's cool, I play hard, but we don't have any chance to win from night to night basis. Cancun, that's where we're going. Where we going to Cabo or something, man? What, babe? Where we going? Will we go to vacation? That's probably what they're planning out vacations right now, man. So, all right, talk about some shirts, man. Y'all go hit me up. NbaTalkWithJay at Gmail right now. I just sent the shirt to Australia and to Canada. What person said do you send to Malaysia? Wherever you're at, my guy, you're getting the shirt. You see what I'm saying? So I appreciate y'all's support. Let's keep it going, my guy. Free picks as always. Shark, what you like to say? Let's get some cash. We're going undefeated. Simple.
That's right. As I said, buy hat engaged. One final point on this game. The Spurs are only a half game better in the standings than Portland, and they're 2 out of the play-in. They need to show up in this game, not only to lay the hammer down on this half game gap, but to close on the Pelicans. 2-unit official, -7.5, -9. It should be 25 plus. And Minnesota Timberwolves +1 triple revenge game. Minnesota, a home juggernaut. Phoenix dub 5, trending towards a loss. Tough spot for Phoenix here tonight. 2 officials, 9 words of lifestyle. Rod the way we got water. Jay, a pleasure. Be back tomorrow, and let's fucking dominate. Close them out.
It's always, my guy said, Tony Bates, shouldn't search to Columbia. Man, hey, look, hit me up. I got you. I'll send it out tomorrow. Neil, appreciate you for that $5 tip. For me, man, I'm on the Hornets. I did add a couple plays. So these officials that I can't go official with lines that I didn't take. I'm not taking the ass in the line, guys. This is the third show I did one last night, let you know what I like, and this morning, man. You shouldn't be taking the ass into these lines. So what I added for this show, officials, current lines, -2.5, I believe -120 at that first quarter, and -4.5 for the first half for the Hornets. So that puts me at 2 trifectas today. The second one I won't go official. The second trifecta I won't go official. If you watched the early show, you got on that one with me. But Hornets, the 2 plays that I've added, Hornets first quarter, first half, and I still like them full game as well. Double-digit win by the Hornets here. I think they run these Knicks off the floor. The Hornets with a lot to play for. The Knicks, not a whole lot. Their season's basically over here. So give me the Hornets trifecta spot. Celtics as well. This line is still the same. So I did sprinkle. This isn't a heavy play for me. I did go half unit with the Celtics here, -5, but I still like it. It was just the lesser one that I liked of the other plays, guys. I hope that makes sense. Y'all know me. I'm always trying to cash. I don't give a damn if it's 0.10 units. I'm not trying to lose it. You dig what I'm saying? Fuck them bookies, man. We're trying to cash. It's us. It's us against them. This is the community you have here. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. We got our guy Shark. We're trying to cash as always. It's all business, man. Hit me up for shirts, all that good stuff. Let's go undefeated. One time for the one time. We back tomorrow. We out, my guys.